Ooga chaka, ooga chaka, ooga chaka, ooga chaka.
I can't stop this feeling deep inside of me. Girl, you just don't realize what you do to me when you hold me in your arms so tight. You let me know everything's alright. I've seen a new Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Yeah.
I'm high on the Marvel.
There's
I'm in
some
love
Stan
with
Lee.
We prepared right up till the
prepared
chorus.
right up until the chorus. All right. Welcome back to the PCMR podcast, where we talk about movies, TV shows, comic books, and video games. All the kinds of things that don't really matter because life is meaningless and you're going to die one day. Hey, but we're going to talk about it
Bright
anyway.
and cheery place.
It's a bright and cheery podcast. We're not nihilists.
No, we haven't lost most will to live.
No. I've still got some.
A little bit.
Every couple of months when a new Marvel movie comes out.
I keep busy so I don't think about it until another Marvel movie comes out.
Yeah. You try and do that. Just hunker down. It's like, nah, it's all right.
Just feel...
Infinity War comes out next year. I got to make it through the year.
Yeah,
I got to make it through the year.
I feel like once the MCU is over, that's when I'm going to call it.
Yeah.
You know?
Because Breaking Bad's done. Game of Thrones will be done by then. Once the MCU's done, just kill myself. Just kill myself at that point.
Nothing else left worth it.
What's left is like, oh, you got a new bloody DC movie. Nah, I'd rather kill myself.
You know what? It literally terrifies me that there is a possibility that I might die before the MCU ends.
Oh,
It's a terrifying thought to think I might never see the end of this.
That's fucked. Nah, don't want to think about that.
Whenever I see things like, the Marvel actors visiting these sick kids in hospital, I'm like, those poor kids.
They'll never
I'm never going to see Infinity Wars.
They are never going to see Captain Marvel. Oh.
And it's like, I remember a fan got to see The Force Awakens half a year before the release. I'm like,
he never got to hear Mark Hamill speak.
He's never going to get to see The Last Jedi or Rogue One.
No. Oh, that would have sucked because he got to the end of that and then it's just Mark Hamill standing there and the movie ends and he's just like, the fuck is this ending? I am dying and you give me this?
Yes.
What's this sequel bullshit?
Just show me the script. Please
give me the script for The Last Jedi. Let me see that shit right now. I'm gonna read it. Someone bring me my glasses, puts it on, and it's like, Act 1, Scene 1, Interior. Han Solo is dead. We see his rotting corpse. What a bummer of a script! Why are you making me read this?
I feel like we just need to conclude that with saying, guys, don't kill yourself.
Don't kill yourself.
No. Like, we're not actually. It's satire.
Satire.
It's a dark Australian
humor. Do we do post-trigger warning?
Post-trigger warning, yeah, that's what this is. Post-trigger warning. Guys, don't kill yourself. We're joking.
Oh, that'd be fucked up like every time I say, yeah, and then another thing, I was slitting my wrist. Oh, yeah, trigger warning. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't move on to something completely different. And then it's like, then I got some chicken McNuggets. It's just like... So was the trigger warning for the McNuggets or the slitting? What do you think a trigger warning is?
Jesus.
Anyway, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes. Take a sip from my Civil War cup.
So this is our second outing with James Gunn and crew. He's got a bigger budget, I think.
Yes.
Arguably.
Arguably. I don't really know. I don't know.
I don't know if it's got a bigger budget, but this is like... These are those films that, like, you can kind of just chuck anyone into. Like, you probably have to see the first Guardians before you see this movie, but, like, the Guardians of the Galaxy kind of films, they're the most kind of removed from, like, the rest of the stuff that's going on in the Marvel Universe.
You could watch this and the first one as their own thing. You don't need to follow the Marvel Universe.
And for those of us, like me and you, who, like, just crave little weird Easter eggs, there are plenty of great little random Easter eggs in this movie.
For the big cosmic side of it, we get so many like teasers about characters that could in the future be bigger parts of the MCU.
I think that's one of the things I want to talk about getting into this movie. We'll just I'll say this now. There's a couple of things in here that I feel like it's maybe overreaching in what it was trying to do in this film.
Yeah.
But I'll get into that in a bit more detail. So we find this film, it's about 3 months later, I guess in space-time.
Yeah, so there's not a lot of time later.
How do you measure time in space?
Because
we're measuring it, our rotation around the sun.
Because if you really think about it, I think Interstellar did it really well, like explaining the difference in time and space, because like the speed in which you are moving determines the speed in which your body ages. So it's like in Interstellar, he's on that planet for like an hour, but it's like 30 years in Earth time. So like his daughter's an adult by the time he spent an hour on this planet. So, and that's actually a real thing. That's how it works in science. So yeah, it's. Peter Quill could be like 100 years old, but maybe it's just because he's constantly in a spaceship. He's only like in his 30s.
That's true. Like there's no great parameter for what time is in his movie. But
let's not think about that.
Think about it.
That's science nerdy shit that we like to think about.
That's some shit that's just going to confuse everyone. See, it's best not to think about it. Anyway, 3 months, quotation marks, later.
Marks, yeah.
They're renowned throughout the galaxy. They're the guys who stop
Ronan. Knows them.
So they're going up. They're doing odd jobs for people.
Yeah, they're pretty much hiring themselves out. So they're kind of making a legal living because a lot of them were criminals.
They're the cosmic version of the heroes for hire.
Pretty much, hey.
Pretty much, yeah. So they're out. They've been hired by the Sovereign.
Yeah, the big gold people.
Yeah, a bunch of gold people have hired them to stop a squid monster, which is what you've seen in the trailers.
Yeah.
Big like T-Rex squid. It was like the first.
And as I suspected, I thought it was going to be. We both thought it was going to be one of the.
That's
going
to be like
fights.
the opening scene. Yeah, I was very sure like they're going to be fighting that squid straight up first thing.
Yeah, and they were.
Mm.
And it was. I like how they did the opening credits with just like focusing on Baby Groot dancing to the song while they're all just fighting the worm.
Yeah,
in the
they've
background.
definitely like leaned into. I feel like especially in this first half of this film. They've definitely leaned into all of the things that people liked about the first Guardians of the Galaxy.
Well,
so we've got.
He learned from it. He listened and he looked. This is what people liked. Let's give them more on that. And you could argue at some points maybe a bit too heavy on them, but
yeah. Let's try to stay positive, and then we'll have, because I have some criticism. Like I like the movie, but I have a couple of things.
Oh, it's a great movie, but of course, always criticisms.
Yeah. So again, we're back with these characters, and they are still great. The humor,
definitely.
it's still kind of a bit hit and miss here and there, but there's more jokes this time around. I feel like it's the most jokey of all the Marvel movies.
Films.
Yeah. This film like is just hitting you with jokes like left, right, and center constantly.
Because I feel like it works with this movie because I feel like all the actors in this are so good.
Yeah,
with
everyone
their
has great
timing.
comedic timing. Yeah.
Yeah, like Chris Pratt, Bradley Cooper,
Dave Bautista even like
Dave Bautista.
He's really like coming to his own. Like he is Drax the Destroyer.
Yeah,
completely.
I don't even know what Dave Bautista looks like.
The same but less tattoos and green. Different tattoos and not or grey, whatever color he is.
I think it was with you last week. We watched something with Zoe Saldana in it, and when she walked out,
Saldana or
oh yeah. I always say it wrong. When she walked out, she wasn't green. I was so confused. Like
she's been a bunch of colors. Like
I'm watching it and like, oh, she's black. I didn't even know what
she's
her
like
skin color was.
like black Latina kind of. I think she's like Puerto Rican. I think.
Yeah, I feel that.
Hey, for anyone who wants to correct me, please do. I get this shit wrong all the time. I'm constantly confusing Latinas for different kinds of Latinas. That's my blind spot.
She's ethnic and slightly darker skinned. Let's say that.
Yeah, like I feel like I could tell the difference between most like Asian people at this point, just because there's a high density of them in Australia. We're in an Asian region. We're gonna see them a lot more.
I can look at a person and say, "Oh, I think you're Chinese. I think you're
Japanese, Korean." Yeah, like it gets a bit harder when you get to like Singapore and stuff because it's like, "Oh fuck, you are technically Chinese, but you're Singaporean." Oh, fuck, I don't know. Yeah,
and like, did you ever watch Ali Wong's special on Netflix?
Yes.
Cobra?
Yeah.
So like she says in that, there's a difference between like the upper class Asian and like bush Asian. So like so I think you can definitely tell the difference between like your upper class Asian, like your China, your Japan, whatever, and your quotation marks bush Asian, which
Thailand.
is more Thailand, Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, stuff like that.
Indonesia's a spectrum. Like every country is a spectrum. I don't know. We're getting into some weird territory here. Yeah.
Well, you and me, we are both 100% Australian. I'm white as you can get. You're African complexion. So
yes, I am.
we get. You only just realize that. Oh, fuck yeah, I am.
I forget constantly.
This isn't a condition I've had to live with my whole life. Dealing with
condition, racist. Jeez, man. I guess I know how you feel now.
I mean, like the human condition, the condition.
Yeah,
that
righto, mate, righto.
Oh, come on.
Anyway,
we're getting off track.
Yeah, everyone, all the characters in this, they've they like playing these characters. They've really leaned into
definitely.
it. Yeah. So everyone is really good. Even the new additions, I feel like, were pretty good.
I feel like they were brought in well.
Some characters get a beefed up role, like Nebula, who's played by the Amy Pond actress Karen Gillan. She gets a beefier role. I liked her a lot more in this movie than I did in the previous one.
I feel like we got more of a character from her. We understood her more.
And the good thing about it is, like, this is all building on stuff that was in the first movie, but they've just explored it a little bit more, and it's given her that little bit more dimension to, like, her character. Yeah.
Which is basically what you want to do with a sequel.
Okay. Yeah, it's what you want to do with a sequel.
Let's pick some background characters and explore them a bit more while still giving, more arcs to the main character, like, Star-Lord.
Yeah, there's a lot of good decisions made in this film where I can see, like, why James Gunn would make the decision that he made. Like, there's a lot of... they've tried to avoid a lot of kind of sequelitis.
Yeah.
They hit a few things...
Not my microphone.
They hit a few things here and there that are kind of like, oh, yeah, that's a little kind of... They do that in every kind of sequel. But they try and avoid, like, making the same movie over again.
Yeah.
Which is what you want to avoid when you're making a sequel to, like, a very successful movie that people really liked.
I mean, there are some movies like the Fast and Furious movies you love. Where it's like
make those over and over and over again.
Movie over and over. You'll make a bucket of money. But these kind of Marvel movies, these are the ones you don't want to make the same movie twice.
No. You want to try and evolve it as it keeps going. Especially now, like now that people are way more aware of like the formula and like the criticisms. Like at this later stage, they're way more aware of like, okay, these are the things we're kind of just coasting on a bit. We need to shake things up as we're going forward, which is
and Marvel.
I feel like they've been doing.
Yeah, Marvel are doing a reasonably good job of it. I feel like. Unlike DC, shots fired, they kind of listen to what the fans say at a lot of points because they realize the fans are the wallets that are giving them money.
They really are. Yeah.
So it's like if the majority of fans are shouting this one thing, well, why don't we do it? Because that's gonna.
And you can't just cater to one kind of fan because that's the thing with DC. They're very much catering to like the hardcore fanatic fans that will. Why does this always come down to us hating on DC? I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll get through this point and then we'll go back to just be talking about Marvel. We'll be hating on DC. They're fine. We'll get to them when Wonder Woman comes out. But yeah, they'll just trying to cater to that hardcore kind of fan. It's like, hey, I've read the comics. I love all of this. Oh, look, it's a comic panel that I recognize. Yeah. Or Marvel is more trying to cater to like all kinds of fans.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't need to have read the comics to love this.
Like
stuff.
You want to cater a little bit to those people. Like, oh, I recognize that from the comics. But you want to create a good story first and foremost.
I feel like these Marvel movies, they're bringing in a new age, a new popularity in like comic books. Because I feel like you and me, we've both gotten really back into reading comic books.
Oh yeah,
and I think it's largely to do with these movies. Like I've gotten so into reading comic books, and I have these movies that did it. And it's
like before all these MCU movies, like I don't think I read any Marvel comics. It was Tintin and Batman. Those were my two things. That's what I read.
I grew up reading just X-Men, really. And I think by the time I was about 12, I stopped. And I was never that heavily into reading them. And I don't think I wasn't like following the arcs. I just pick up a random story and read it.
Yeah.
So half the time I didn't really understand what's going on. It's like that. That when you get the newspaper, remember the Phantom in the newspaper?
Oh, I would never understand what's
going
on
And you try and read
there.
one strip of it, but it's just like 3 panels of a comic that have been going for months. Like I have no idea what they're doing here.
I always hated when there was a Phantom in the newspaper because I'm like, just release like a... I know there probably are just like full comics out there, but just I would rather read one of those than 3 panels. Like, because all those other ones are designed to be in a newspaper. That's 3 panels like, here's a setup, punchline.
Oh, Garfield. I always read Garfield comics too.
Have you probably know about those figures like Garfield without Garfield, and it's just like
John talking to himself.
His sad life, but it's just like silence, and then he'll say something like, "I guess I should die," or something. I don't know.
See, I was really into Garfield comics because most people they just read it in the paper, like, oh, that's funny. I had actual like books, actual big books. For
you
Garfield
fucking
comics.
Nerd, you big old nerd. You're a nerd, and no one likes you. Oh my god! No, I'm joking.
I don't care. I love my Garfield comics. Call me what you want. I got my Garfield comics. I probably still have them around here somewhere.
You probably do. You nerdy fucking cunt.
I don't know why. I don't give a shit what you say. I'm
honestly,
on Garfield right now.
Entirely is just like a joke to myself because like we're a nerdy podcast. We talk about some nerdy shit, and as soon as you talk about one nerdy thing that I don't know about. as a defense mechanism. I'm like, I have a chance to be the jock in this
See,
scenario.
I feel like you sometimes forget that I actually am a nerd.
I do.
It's not just the things
forget.
that you like and introduce to me. I'm actually a nerd. Oh, someone followed me on Instagram. Oh, yep, it's the person that recommended me before, like I said.
And was that before we got on mic, or was that...
That's before we got on the mic.
Okay.
Because Instagram sent me that notification. Which I was saying to Aiden, I swear to God, they send it once a day with a different person. Your friend, blah, blah. He's on Instagram as blah, blah. I'm not going to read the actual name.
At blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. And that was 28 minutes ago. And now, your Facebook friend, blah, blah, just shared their first Instagram post. Oh, they didn't. Okay. They shared their first post. I thought they followed me.
Anyway.
Follow me, you asshole. Anyway, I'm getting off track.
Anyway, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Let's get so off track.
So off track. Anyway, so they fight this big squid thing.
Yeah, they fight a big squid. Okay.
And
opening scene.
Opening scene, and I like the opening scene. I like, especially the first half. They're very much leaning into like what people like. They're not doing the same story over again. This is like the next day, but 3 months later, kind of thing. We're like, well, what would that team be doing now?
Yeah,
they'd be going around.
The same people doing something different, like real people. The same things doesn't happen to a real person over and over.
Yeah.
If it's an interesting thing happening to a person, it's not going to happen twice.
And I feel like this film also manages like, it's more intimate, but it's also kind of larger at the same time. Like, it's like what you're seeing on screen is kind of very epic, and it's like this epic scale of like a lot of things going on. But it's a much more intimate story about, it's a lot about like...
You get a lot more personal with the characters in this.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it does feel like the villain is on a larger scale than in... Like Ronan, he was, if you think about it, he was going to take that stone and he was going to kill a lot of people.
Don't say the name.
No, I was talking about the first movie, Ronan.
Yeah.
I can say that. I'm not saying who it was in this movie. But yeah, I feel like the villain in this movie is on a larger scale than Ronan was, like a bigger threat. Do you feel that?
Yeah, I feel like they are definitely a bigger threat. But the same like their motivations and the way that they relate to like this character or these characters, it's a lot more kind of personal, a lot more kind of relatable. Yeah.
Well, Ronan was very much just a bad guy.
Yeah, he was kind of just a bad guy. I feel like they definitely fixed that. Like the antagonist or the antagonists in this film felt more personal. Like,
yeah, I'd say it's probably one of the best antagonists in all of the Marvel films, because the Marvel films, it's what they call it, the villain problem they've had, where a lot of the villains have been very, you can't sympathize with them at all. They're just villains. There's nothing else to them than just being bad.
Yeah, when they were explaining, kind of, they're like, well, here's the reason I want to do my thing. I'm like, I guess you would.
Yeah, I get. Like, I wouldn't do that, but I can get how you'd see that slightly in your shoes.
Yeah.
It's not just Mads Mikkelsen being like, oh, let's Dark Dimension or...
Fuck it, I want to die. Or I don't want to die. What was his motivation again?
Oh, that he thought the Dark Dimension was superior and we're all going to be kings
was it
aside
like trying to get
Dormammu.
Immortality or something? Is it?
Yes. Oh, yeah, mortality, some shit like that.
Yeah, something like that. I want to watch that again. I haven't watched it in a while. Well,
I watched it again like a month or so ago with my sister.
Oh, yeah.
Because unlike me, she doesn't like going to the movies by herself, and she wouldn't watch it in the movies by herself.
I don't mind going to the movies by myself.
I kind of like going to the movies by myself sometimes, because I feel like while going to your movies with your friends is fun. You can turn to them and whisper a little quip to do with the movie. It's fun. At the same time, movies is more of a solo activity.
Because you're in that darkened room, like, if you don't have, like, people against you, it's just you on the screen.
Yeah.
And you can get completely enraptured in
that
story.
Well, that's what I did with Guardians, too, because I was going to go with my sister, but she was just like, it's late and it's the first day of release, and I'm not going to get seats. I'm like, well, fucking, I'll go by myself then, bitch. So I did, and it was great, and I even got a great seat, even though I got there late on the opening day.
Yeah, I just went with Isaac. His review, really liked it. So,
there you go. Yeah, we invited him, but he didn't feel like coming, so...
He didn't want to extrapolate past, like, I really liked it, so that's... There you go.
His opinion was just, I liked it. And so I'm like, okay, that's a fair opinion to have.
So I think this film, what this does better than the first one is, like, it adds to the characters, like, especially the characters that we already knew, like Nebula and Yondu. Michael, is it Michael Rooker?
Yeah, Michael Rooker.
He gets way more to do in this film, and I feel like his character got a lot more dimension.
Yeah, see, I feel like he went from being just a supporting character to being an actual main character in this.
Oh yeah, a lot of the, like, not the main story, but one of the main stories is kind of all about him.
Yeah, because it had a a couple of different stories going on at each time that all kind of intertwined, which I feel like was good directing on James Gunn's part, that he could have pretty much 3 different stories happening at once that all ended up concluding in the same way at the same time with the same event.
He does struggle a little bit, kind of make him, because some of them get sacrificed, especially during like the second act. Like some of these characters, like I forgot they were in the film.
Yeah.
Like there was a few characters here. Yeah, there
maybe
like, oh shit, they were in this film.
Yeah, there maybe wasn't good, division of screen time. I'd say.
Yeah.
That I feel like with what you said, it wasn't they had less screen time. I feel like they had just more earlier on. Then we didn't see them for a while, and they came back. Is what I feel it was. Especially
since like the first film, it's very much all of these characters coming together, and then we're following them all together on
as
this
a
journey.
group.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, here it's very much like they're split up. And
they split up
what each of them
parts,
doing,
yeah,
and
like,
they come back together at the end.
So there's this disjointedness to it
which I feel like was a good way to bring up an initial conflict amongst a group, because like how the MCU did as a whole with Civil War, it's like they, what's the most threatening way to come into the Infinity War? To be divided.
Yeah.
So that's kind of
I get that.
what they did, but on a bit of a smaller scale, this smaller team, did they kind of gave them a bit of division and a bit of tension amongst the group before throwing this villain at them, which made it harder when maybe initially it would have been super easy for them to overcome. Maybe.
Yeah, this film definitely feels like a lot of James Gunn just kind of like getting a chance to hang out with all of the friends, all the people that he liked working with on the first film.
Yeah.
And giving him more to do, which is fine, I like that Marvel give him that kind of sense of freedom, and he just...
Yeah, well, it takes a certain level of trust. They trusted him enough to give him more. Like, I feel like they trusted him a fair bit with the first one, but here they're like, okay, you took a property that was generally not that well known,
not at all,
and you made it a fan favorite. We're going to give you some more trust, some more money. Go do what you do.
And I feel like that's earned here as well, because the film is enjoyable moment to moment. You are having a good time, and there's a lot of one-liners, a lot of really great visuals. It's definitely like one of the most colorful Marvel films, like especially coming out of like Civil War, where everything had this kind of gray palette to it, which going back and watching it, I'm like, it's just a bit kind of desaturated. It works for the film, but I like that there's this like that you could go and watch like a Guardians movie, and it's amazing
like
colors going
right to the fucking face.
A lot of like 70s influences as well.
Oh
in
yeah,
this film, like
with least being the music.
Yeah, the least being the music. Exactly. Like a lot of the visuals are very kind of like, wow, this is super cool. You got a lot of great like design elements going on in here.
Yeah.
There's this one shot where it's just Gamora kind of sitting in a field, and it looks like a beautiful background you'd put on like a...
Oh yeah.
Like a lot of like great colors going on. So this is definitely a really good looking film. The characters get a lot more to do.
And like when they first get to Ego's planet, which is what we thought it was in the trailer. You saw it in the trailer. Thought,
we haven't talked about Kurt Russell as Ego yet. Oh, what? Because he's one of the new additions.
Yeah, he's one of the new additions. So
I like it. I really like Kurt Russell in this film.
Oh yeah, he was great. Like
he brought like this great sense of gravitas to it, and I really like, the interactions between Chris Pratt's Peter Quill and his Ego, because they meshed like really well, like straight off
and
the
like
bat.
we know they're father son, and just you could feel that between them. But I feel like they didn't. Even if we didn't have that knowledge, I feel like if we just saw them acting the way they were with each other, well, we would have been able to guess that's his father by the way they gelled with each other.
Yeah. And they introduced that like really early on. Like I was surprised how early on they go like, okay, this is what's happening. Like it's basically after the first like scene, they introduce him and they establish that. So it's not really a spoiler. Yeah, like where people are complaining about, hey, that's kind of a spoiler. It's like that happens in the first like 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah,
of the film.
That's what
it's
James Gunn said. It's not a spoiler. It happens super early on.
Like that's an essential part of the story moving forward. Like anything after that, you need to know that, otherwise I can't show you all of this bit.
An essential part of the film. You need to know that, or the rest of the story doesn't work in the slightest.
True. So I really like that. I liked that there was a lot of cool like kind of Easter eggs and stuff to like things like the character that Sylvester Stallone was playing. I won't say it here.
Oh yeah, I liked having him in this movie.
He fit in really well.
I didn't think he would.
I didn't either.
I was a bit when I heard Sylvester Stallone was going to be in it, but no, he worked.
He fitted straight away. Like I was watching this, like, No, that makes perfect sense.
I think this movie is just me learning to trust James Gunn's decisions more.
Yeah, and I do trust him to make a good film, and it is enjoyable moment to moment, but it is a little disjointed. So let's get into some of the criticisms I have.
I feel like
some of the criticisms I have are kind of spoilery. So
yeah, I have one that's not spoilery.
Mm.
The jokes, they were firing jokes out of all barrels.
Yeah.
Some of them didn't land. So
Yeah,
I feel like it could have been a bit.
yes,
less
they could have
And-
like edited them.
Yeah,
a
and
bit
there were
better,
some
yeah.
jokes that kind of went on a bit much.
Yeah, there were a few
like
that were
that scene where. Oh, is that a spoiler?
Oh, was Rocket's talking about putting turds in his bed? Is that
No,
one,
like
or?
the whole fight scene where it's just Rocket.
Oh,
Yeah, well, basically, you've seen it in the trailer. A bunch of guys are coming in, and they're just fighting Rocket,
Mm.
and it is a great scene to see how threatening Rocket actually is, that he can take on this many guys.
yeah, I feel like if
once.
anyone got like a chance to show off how kind of like threatening and like formidable they are, Rocket really
that scene
got
is-
a big scene to show off. Like, here's why you don't fuck with this
But
little
there's
raccoon.
that joke in it where that EMP thing's blasting the guys into the air.
Mm.
You know, it's a bit funny, but then they just keep doing it,
Mm.
and it's just like, okay, you can stop now.
I would have
I
liked
saw the joke.
a couple more moments for like everyone else to get like a moment like that. I like Peter Quill usually comes up pretty well, but like Drax gets a lot of good comedic moments, and he gets a lot of good like moments to show like some of like comedic but heart stuff. But like he never really gets a chance to show like here's why he's like Drax the Destroyer. He's like renowned
Yeah,
throughout the galaxy.
You
He's
can
this
forget
badass.
that he is Drax the Destroyer.
I forget that he's a badass,
He
and
was-
I
think
shouldn't
he-
be forgetting
I think
that.
he
yeah.
was more threatening in the first movie.
Yeah, he was.
Because you know when you can forget that when we first met him, he was in this fucking jail because he murdered some motherfuckers.
Yeah, he's just a guy having a good time. Like,
yeah.
I keep forgetting why he's on
Yeah.
the team.
And it's like, you know, you learn more about him. Like, even throughout the first movie, you learn that the only reason he's in jail is because he's killing motherfuckers who killed his family.
He
you
does
know?
get one moment, like, early on, where, like, he does this one cool badass thing. But, like, that's about it. I feel like I don't remember another badass moment for him.
Yeah, no.
I just remember quips after that.
Yeah. Which is fine.
Yeah.
But maybe in, like, you know, Infinity War or Guardians 3, maybe show us some more badass tracks.
Like, even Gamora got a few more moments to show, like, the reason, like, this is why she's, like the greatest assassin. in the
Yeah.
universe. She, like, there's this moment, I feel like it's in the trailer where she's, like, she picks up a
The giant gun.
Yeah,
You're
that
like,
was
you
like
have to be strong as fuck in the first place to
like
hold
that's
that up.
you'll realize, like, oh shit, she's probably strong.
Oh, but
as
then
fuck.
when you see
Yeah.
what she's shooting at, it's like, okay. Anyway, do you want to get into spoilers because we're dancing around them?
Yeah, we're dancing around-
dancing around them.
Let's get into them. I think I'm gonna give it about an 8 out of 10.
I was thinking 8. Yeah.
Yeah. I was dancing between 7.5 and 8, but I think fuck it's just 8.
Yeah, 8. Give it a solid score. Yeah, so
All right.
8 out of 10. Go see it. It's a lovely film. It's fun.
Yeah.
Got some jokes. Got some good action. Has a great antagonist. Who
Great
we can now
antagonist.
say, now that we're in spoilers.
Spoilers is Ego the Living Planet. So they've got
I
a
didn't
few.
realize it would be him. I didn't pick that. Did you pick that?
Not straight away, no. Because they've got a few like antagonists kind of floating around. They had the Ravagers and they've had the Sovereign kind of there at the start. Well, I feel like the Sovereign, that was kind of one of my collates. Like they really kind of got short shifted.
Yeah, I feel like they did. I thought they were going to
They've
be
got
bigger
this
in this
really
movie.
cool design, and they're all gold, and they've got that great chair which Aisha is sitting in.
Yeah.
And then they don't get to do a lot. They're
Yeah,
kind of just there.
All they really have in this movie is those, you know, VR ships.
Which would be fine if this was like a TV show and I could
Yeah.
get to see them next week. But that's the kind of problem with like these Marvel movies is that like, especially at this later stage, they're just introducing
We're gonna
characters
wait
like
a couple months.
bam, 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 a lot of bunch of characters. Like, even if this was a comic, I would be fine with them in this. Okay, cool. A little bit of Sovereign here, get a little bit of Sovereign later. It's all good.
Yeah.
And especially with like, so Sylvester Stallone, he's playing Stakar, which is Starhawk. I think it was like in the comics, one of the original people to found the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, I think so.
And he gets his own like little team of people, which apparently he'll have like a bigger part in Volume 3, maybe.
Yeah. And I feel like he's kind of, at the end, he kind of set up his own little team.
Yeah, which also Michael Rosenbaum, who played like Lex Luthor in Smallville and voiced the Flash in the Justice League Unlimited cartoon, he's the Diamond looking fella?
That little robot with the female voice,
Oh yeah.
Miley Cyrus.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
Mm.
So, do we want to talk about the end credit scenes now?
Yeah, let's talk about some of the end credit scenes.
Now, okay, the first end credit, because there's 5 of them.
There's 5 of them, yeah.
The first one, because Yondu dies. Sadness.
It is sadness.
Did you kind of well up a little bit? Were you sad?
I wasn't as sad as I thought I would be, but I was kind of a little bummed because I would have liked to have seen him hanging shit on Tony Stark. Like, of all the people I wanted to see talking shit to the Avengers, it was Michael Rooker going like, "Look at it, Tony Stark, just in his fucking hillbilly as fuck Michael Rooker accent. Like, look at all these fucking Avengers ass cut. Look at all these Terrans thinking they shit. You ain't shit. I can shoot an arrow with my hand." Wha!
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen that. So I'm kind of disappointed he died. Like, I feel like the initial death, initial death wasn't that sad. But then when it's the funeral,
because once you get to like the funeral and like his like ashes are like scattered, you're like up until that point I'm thinking like, nah, he'll be fine. He's gonna come back.
Yeah, that's when
he'll be alive.
Real.
He'll be alive.
In a Marvel movie, that's when it's real. That's
yeah, it was
real.
like, nah, we've disintegrated him. It's like, oh shit, he's dead.
Peter's speech as well, where it was like, "Yondu was my father."
She also has that kind of nice callback to like Drax is like, I thought the blue one was your fella's like, no, he's blue.
No, but he was his father.
Oh, but Drax knew. He knew. He could see like.
And then they released the ashes of the Ravagers game.
All right, so what was the first?
That's me ugly crying.
What's the first end credit sequence?
That was the one where the second in command, I can't remember his name.
Kraglin?
Yeah, he had Yondu's fin on and he was practicing with the arrow and he stabs Drax.
All right, that was pretty good.
Yeah. Then there's the second one, which was Teenage Groot.
Teenage Groot. I think that by the time we meet up with the Guardians again in
I think
Infinity
he'll
War,
be full-time.
He'll be full-grown, yeah. But that was like a cool little scene.
Because I would love to see Groot, like full-grown Groot versus Hulk.
Yeah, that's pretty key for
I'd love to see because they're the two like big hulking characters.
Like Groot, he got a lot to do with this film, but he didn't say a lot. Like I feel like Vin Diesel just kind of came in, said like 5 lines, and
then
like,
left.
I
will take my $1 million, thank you.
Like in the last one, I could feel like, oh yeah, he's saying it a lot of different ways. It's very interesting, but here it's like. Well, you could fucking get anyone to do that pitch shifted shit.
I think I heard that apparently in the first Guardians of the Galaxy, with each I am Groot, it actually in English had what he was saying below it.
Yeah,
so
I've heard about that.
Knew it's I am Groot, but here's the English sentence that I'm saying. So he kind of knew which way to say it to convey that.
I think he also did he get like a. Was he the only one who got like a version of that script? No one else in the cast got
I'm not sure. I just remember hearing that he had that script where it actually said the English version of his lines. But yeah, I would love to see Groot take on Hulk.
I would like to see that. But I liked Baby Groot, but it was kind of like you just kind of made him into a toy. He felt more like
it was kind of a marketing thing. I know James Gunn defended the decision, but I'm like at the same time, I think they did it for marketing a bit.
Especially at that start where it's just him dancing about, and I'm like,
marketing.
I was so conflicted of like, this is cool, and I'm liking this, but at the same time, I'm like,
I know they're doing this.
Stop giving me what you what I think I want. Give me what I need.
Yeah, I feel that like that's a very petty thing to think, but I agree with you.
It's so weird to complain about. These people giving me these amazing.
Yeah, look at these people giving me everything I've asked for.
Yeah, look at them giving me everything I asked for. How dare you? No, it's petty. But like, I'm like once that intro, I'm kind of glad they did just an intro because like you do it straight up. Like here's your dancing Groot. All right, he's danced. Let's get into the rest of the movie. Yeah.
No. What was the next thing?
So we had they made like Adam Warlock.
The
the Sovereign. I guess. Yeah, so they've
because originally Adam Warlock was made by a group of scientists on Earth. Then he went to outer space.
So now
he's literally being created in space.
And I think he was also originally a big part of the script for this film, but then thankfully James Gunn realized at least one of his stories was too much, and was like, all right, we'll cut this one out.
So you feel like
Jesus, good.
Do we know if Adam Warlock's going to be in Infinity Wars or not?
I'm not sure if he's going to be in Infinity War, but probably in Volume 3.
Because I feel like by Volume 3, they're going to switch up the members of the Guardians of the Galaxy.
I feel like 3 was like the end of like this
version
This
of the
iteration
roster.
of
This
Guardians.
iteration, and then they'll switch it out.
Yeah, so I
Could be
feel
anyone,
like
yeah.
throughout, I feel like he's going to have a Winter Soldier type thing where at first he's a bad guy, but then well, that's what he did in the comics. He kind of rebelled against his creators and became a good guy. So
pretty
I
much.
feel like he might, rebel against his creators and become one of the Guardians by the end of Volume 3.
Do you know what we haven't talked about yet? Good old Stan Lee.
Oh,
The Stan Lee cameo. Which I think is the best Stan Lee cameo.
because it wasn't only a Stan Lee cameo, it was
It confirmed like a huge fan
Easter egg.
theory. Yeah.
I don't know if it fully confirmed the fan theory, but it confirmed the presence of the Watchers.
Yeah.
The Watchers are in this universe.
I was such like a nerd. Like, you get a lot of nerdy moments in these kind of films, but like seeing the Watchers was that kind of moment where I'm looking around going like, oh,
I did that too. Okay, here's how it was sitting.
Yeah.
It was towards the end of the row. It was
Yeah.
on the end of the aisle seat. There was this nerd guy. There was
Yeah.
spare seat, me, aka nerd guy.
Yeah.
Then right next to me was a father and a young son.
Yeah.
And it happened, and when I saw the Watchers, I was literally like, I literally inhaled like that, and I looked to the right to the father and the son beside me, and they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Then I looked to the left of this nerd, and me and this other nerd made eye contact, and we're like,
It's like,
we kind of had a moment where we didn't have to say anything to each other, we were like, yes, the Watchers!
But I think it kind of confirmed the little fan theory because he's talking about like, oh, that time I was a Federal Express agent. It's like, oh shit, he's done that in a previous cameo. And then in like the end credit sequence, I was saying like, hey, I have all these other stories. It's like, has that Stan Lee character been the same person in every movie?
Do you think he's Uatu the Watcher?
I don't think he's, but he might be like some kind of celestial being that's just like very fascinated with Earth history. Just hangs around and like takes jobs.
Do you think he's one of the Watchers? I think he's one of the Watchers.
I don't think he's one of the Watchers, but I think there was some character they were talking about in some article. I forget what it was.
I feel like introducing the Watchers here could be the start of an idea for a future film. Because basically, it's in Civil War, isn't it, that Uatu intervenes? No, it's not.
It might be. I know. Like, there's a big story where like he died like a couple of years back. Do you remember? Do you know anything about Original Sin? I was basically like, so someone killed Uatu the Watcher and stole his eye, and made like a bunch of Marvel characters like revisit like a terrible moment from their past.
Jesus.
Yeah. It had a few moments that like were okay.
What's that?
It gave us Silk. Do you know that Marvel the Spider-Man lady character?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how we got
I
Silk
actually
for
remember the
Original
one
Sin.
story where Uatu the Watcher intervenes. It's one with Doctor Doom where he steals Odin's power.
Ah.
Yeah, and so Doctor Doom has Odin's power, and he's just fucking up the universe.
Mm.
And Uatu intervenes and takes the Avengers, whatever, to the Inhumans base on the moon when they were about to die.
Ah.
So, like, and I think he gets, like, pretty much cast out from the Watchers because he intervened.
Mm.
So, like, yeah.
Well, guys, it's in the title, guy. You can't intervene. We're the Watchers. We watch, you see. Yeah.
So I think that's why Uatu the Watcher is such a well-known Watcher, because of the fact that he's intervened in events. Because he's like, and he kind of rebelled against their ways. Like, we need to do something if we see things going this way. No, all we do is watch. Well, it can't just be that way. So I feel like maybe between Infinity War and the next Avengers movie, maybe Infinity War they lose, but then Uatu steps in like, I can't let this happen. Maybe that's the thing.
Maybe.
That's a Brett fan theory. I don't know if anyone else has that fan theory.
We've also got like Howard the Duck, like real brief.
Yeah, Howard the Duck, yeah.
He was there just hanging out in a bar.
That was a big fun scene, because they were doing like, what was it, 370 jumps at once. And it's just... Also, I like that space design idea thing, how there's like they've made breaches in space which they just jump through. So I like that.
Yeah, I didn't fully understand it, but I like the idea behind it.
I think it's like little man-made wormholes.
Okay.
Because
it was very kind of like this honeycomb effect kind of design.
You've seen that explanation of a wormhole, how it's like you fold space in half and you put the pencil through it.
Yeah.
So you're going from one end to the other like that. So I think it's like they've made these living beings, I'm not going to say man, these living beings have created their own wormholes as a way to traverse space faster.
Oh, yeah. Like little space shortcuts.
Yeah, pretty much. So that's what they mean by jumps. You find one of these holes, you jump through, and you're at a totally different part of space.
Oh, yeah. That's interesting.
I don't know. That's how I interpreted it.
I'm glad someone interpreted it somehow. I was a little confused, but I was like, sci-fi, whatever.
I see. Part of the reason I love sci-fi is I love to think about the logical way these things could work. I like to think about the actual science that could go behind it working. That's just me.
Well, you got to have a little bit of science in there just to keep.
Well, I remember
happy.
watching videos. It was a video of someone talking to Neil deGrasse Tyson about Interstellar. This is the second time I mentioned Interstellar this episode. And Neil deGrasse Tyson saying which parts of the science in Interstellar works and which part doesn't. And like this person interviewing him thought that he'd absolutely hate Interstellar because, it's not real, it's not realistic. But he's like, no, it's science fiction. There's parts of it that are scientific. Then you take that and you add fiction, which makes for an interesting story. So,
I think he's definitely like been on the record of saying like, oh no, I really like Interstellar. Like there are
well, he
bunch
likes
of cool
science
ideas in
fiction
there.
in general because he understands like this isn't meant to be real. They as long as the science that they do have, they're doing real science. So yeah,
true.
So was that Stanley and the Watchers was the last credit scene, wasn't it, where they walked away from him?
I think that was the last one. Yeah.
Yeah. So. I had a nerdgasm seeing the Watchers.
Yeah, I was very kind of like, I did not expect to see them at all. Like, of all the things that like, there are little things here and there that get spoiled for you, and little things you can kind of guess. But that was one of those things that like, I didn't know was coming, so I was really happy to see that.
Yeah, because it kind of just happened during that big jump sequence.
Yeah.
The Watchers and Stan Lee, okay. And I feel like a Stan Lee cameo always kind of takes you by surprise, because you're in the movie and you're enjoying yourself, and you kind of forget that Stan Lee is going to show up at some point.
And it's one of those kind of things where I feel like Marvel does it slightly better. It's just in movies at the moment than DC does. Where DC's like, oh, here's a comic panel we recreated, which is like, it's fine every now and then. Like even Civil War recreates a few, like the Iron Man blasting on Captain America's shield and stuff, or like there's a few like in promotional stuff they'll show like Spider-Man like an iconic pose.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's like show us like a character or a moment or like just a famous line. Like show us something that's kind of like that adds to the story as or kind of like a nod back to the comics, but still kind of fits within that story. Where you just shorten like here's this panel. It's just like this other panel. Like I don't care. About that.
See, the thing with, cause I think this is probably one of I'd say the best Stan Lee cameos because it's a lot in it. Because for people who don't know what the Watchers is, but they know who Stan Lee is, they see it as the Stan Lee cameo. But for us, we know who the Watchers are, so we can say, "Oh my god, that's not just the Stan Lee cameo. Stan Lee is talking to the fucking Watchers." So
very good.
Very well written cameo.
What other things can we talk about? Oh, how did you feel about that? Like that twist moment where like you get Ego, his lecturing is like, I'm gonna just consume everything. Everything will be me.
Yeah,
and like you get that moment where like
from the very start,
talking shit about Pete's mum.
I had a suspicion that Ego was up to something because the very, very, very opening scene was when Ego met Peter Quill's mum, and he had that blue flower thing planted. I'm like, in my head, is like, is he going around all the universe planting these flowers in a bid to try and like plant himself into these planets and overtake them? No, that's crazy, I thought. But no, that's exactly what he did.
Exactly what he was doing, yeah.
So I'm like, you kind of
I like
knew
that
from
he-
the very start he was up to something.
I like that he went around to all of these like different planets dressed the same, just in his like
Yeah,
like
in his 80s Earth gear.
80s Kurt Russell just running around with a like
See, I can believe it though that I think it's pretty much confirmed that in other parts of the universe, life forms have grown to be the exact same as humans. Like the Nova Corps, they're all basically human. So like, I think it stands to reason that could definitely happen.
it's a succinct design.
Yeah.
Very succinctly designed. Yeah.
So maybe that forms just,
I like to think of it
universally
as
known.
like life basic, like we're like the basic package, and then all these other ends is like, I want to customize a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll
And, like,
develop a little differently.
Yeah, and like it changes more and more. So you got the ones that is, the Gamora that is green.
Yeah.
Then you get more and more until you get like fucking Groot, which is just a tree. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked the reveal that like he's just been It wasn't just like, oh, I went and fell in love in one place. Like, no, I've been going around to different planets trying to create more of me, fucking all these people. I
Yeah.
like that his...
And that fucking mass grave of all his children.
Oh, that's fucked. I like
That's
that. It was real
fucked.
dark. I loved it.
That is probably one of the darkest things the MCU has done. Just like, oh look,
Like
it's a pit of dead babies. Not babies. I think they were fully grown by the time he got them.
I like the idea. Like, yeah, like he's this kind of god entity, and like his morality isn't our own. He's just like, well,
Yeah.
I wanted to do this, and I thought I'd go and do this. I was a little bored. It's all like intellectual curiosity leading him to do all these things.
Yeah,
I
was
really
like-
enjoy that. Yeah.
See, that's like what we said before. How we could understand where he was coming from. Just like he's literally a god. His mind doesn't work on the same level as ours, so you can kind of understand that he wants to expand. What else could a god want to do than expand his reign?
Exactly. All right. Favorite joke. It's a film full of jokes. What's your favorite jokes?
Oh, I liked the poop in your pillow joke.
You did? Oh yeah.
I gave it a giggle.
It was a little bit. I think my favorite is probably the deconstruction of Taserface's name.
Taserface.
Just
Yeah,
like-
that was a good joke that lasted.
Because it is just kind of this. It was a little meta as well as like a taser face. Why?
Yeah.
Do you shoot tasers out of your face?
Yeah, I feel like it's one of the things that kind of just not only makes fun of itself, but makes fun of sci-fi as a whole, because like gives it a ridiculous name, then acknowledges that the name is ridiculous.
Which is like, you're still being ridiculous, but you can have that little bit of poking fun of yourself because it's, it is them go like, oh man, Taserface, what a weird name, said the cybernetically augmented raccoon.
Yes. So it's kind of it's a bit
It's like,
meta, and it's
let them know that they were defeated by Taserface. And then the other character laughs. They're fucking covered in gold, part of a gold alien race. Like, haha, that's ridiculous. Not me, gold lady, but you, Taserface. What a silly name.
yeah. And so I feel like I like that Taserface because I feel like it flowed well for that part of the film. Because I also like the joke following after where they're trying to get Groot to get the fin, but Groot's just not getting it. He's just bringing him everything else. I thought that was funny, and just then one of the best action scenes of the film again right after it with them going around and just fucking up the Ravagers.
Yeah, like every kind of like big thing they kind of expanded on. Oh, I think I was talking about earlier, like they avoid most cliches of like a sequel artist, but they did hit one which I didn't really think about until I saw the Kingsman trailer for Kingsman 2. What do you look at me when
I
I'm
was trying
talking
to
to
make
you?
faces at my sister as she
Okay,
walked
yeah.
out the door.
But they do that thing like in Kingsman 2, which is like a thing they do with like a lot of sequels. Well, they'll destroy the hero's kind of home base, and then they have to go off and do some other thing. Like, oh, now our base is destroyed. What can we do now?
We have to find who's destroyed
Iron
it
Man
and get
3,
our
oh,
revenge.
my house is destroyed. Oh, my shit is a Kingsman. Oh, the base is destroyed. Here it's like, oh, we've crashed the Milano. The Milano's destroyed. What are we going to do now? So it was a little bit of that of like, I guess so, but...
Yeah. No, I like that scene just because of the badassness of Yondu just having
It is
his
a badass scene.
full fin going and just fucking people up with his awesome little arrow there.
It was visually spectacular.
What did you think about the relationship that built between Yondu and Rocket?
I liked it. I feel like James Gunn found a way to like, oh, here's how you two characters could relate. Here's why you would kind of get along with each other, and I dug that.
Yeah, because it kind of makes sense that they both had kind of outcasts, you know? They both lived
I liked
tough
it. Like
lives.
Yondu was like calling him on his shit. It's like, hey, as a piece of shit, you're being a piece of shit.
Yeah.
I know what a
And
piece
like the
of
whole
shit is.
thing is like
As me.
Rocket's getting more and more angry. Then he's like, I'm the same, and my heart kind of broke a little. It's like, oh, poor Yondu, poor Rocket.
I feel like James Gunn does rely on that kind of yelling, emotional explanation thing
yeah,
trope a bit too much. I would like him to maybe not do that ever again, just because he's done it now. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want another moment where like people are yelling. It's like, blah 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 blah, yelling even louder. Oh, emotional core of my identity,
Yeah.
I've revealed to you. It's like,
yeah.
okay, James Gunn, we know how you deal with emotion. It's a little, it's a little cheap now. Stop it. So like, I'll give it a pass here, just because hey, fuck it, it's a sequel. It's the second like super large film you've ever done. Stop doing it now.
Yeah.
Stop it. I was a little disappointed that like Aisha and like the Sovereign weren't the villains of the film, just because like I like the ones we got. Like Ego was a way better choice, and like that relationship, kind of like father and son, like son trying to destroy like father's legacy thing. That's like real interesting and real cool.
Just like Peter had to find the strength to kill his father, who he'd been looking for his entire life.
Yeah, that was kind of cool. But I was just a little bummed that like we're getting this chance, like, oh, here's this like cool looking female villain. We're not going to get it. But we'll get it in Thor Ragnarok, so I'm a little less annoyed.
So we're seeing the Sovereigns in Ragnarok.
No, in Ragnarok, but like we're getting a cool female villain in Ragnarok. Yeah, like with Hela.
Sovereign? Yeah, Hela. Yeah. Hela, whatever her name is. Kate Blanchett.
Yeah, Kate Blanchett. Which, so that's the only thing stopped me from being a little more annoyed at that. It's because like...
Well, there's also the point...
burping everywhere.
There is also the argument to be made that it looks like they're setting the Sovereigns up to be the main villains of Volume 3 as well.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, because they're creating Adam Warlock, so... Yeah. So that's one of the main storylines throughout it, the Rocket and Yondu. What do you think about the Nebula Gamora stuff's happening?
I liked it. Like, it was definitely like, kind of expanding on what they've kind of touched on a little bit.
Yeah.
In the first one.
I really understood more why Nebula hated her sister so much, because part of me is just like, you were both terrorized by Thanos. I thought
in the first one, it was just kind of felt a lot like, for me, like, it was good. It was a cool, like, visual look she had, but it felt a lot like, it's just Karen Gillan going like, I'm a villain now. Look at me. I'm bald and I'm a villain. I'm a villain. While this one was a bit more like, this is why I'm a villain. I'm really angry and upset. And it's like, that's understandable. Okay.
Like in that one, she was still just kind of, doing what Thanos wanted her to do. Then you learn in this, just like, she hates
every time I fucked up, he replaced a part of my body.
And
it's fucked.
And you did nothing to help.
He ripped out my eye, and you didn't help me.
Yeah, because she literally...
I'm sorry.
She literally said at one point, all I wanted was a sister, but you were so obsessed with winning that you just kept winning, even though you knew what he did to me every time I lost. You couldn't even lose once. Which
kind of puts some shade on Gamora a little bit, like, you're kind of fucked. And she's like, well, the fuck am I meant to do? It's like, that's true. If you lost, you'd have bits of you replaced. So fuck it, it's kill or be killed in that situation.
Yeah, I can understand that. But at the same time, it adds depth to her because it's like people aren't perfect.
No,
and it's just like, yeah, she's a good person in this, but surely she's done some shady shit.
She was doing shady shit in like the first film.
I think there's no real such thing as good and bad. It's a spectrum that we all find. Not even a spectrum. It's a circle. It's a circle.
All right. So we was Peter and Ego, Yondu and Rocket, Gamora and Nebula, and then Drax and Mantis.
Oh yeah, Drax and Mantis.
What did you think of Drax and Mantis?
I just feel so bad for Mantis because he kept calling her ugly, and it was funny. It was like,
you're a very attractive lady, and he is just calling you ugly. Oh,
I can kind of understand it because even though she does have that, bug look to her, she does look like a pretty lady. Because like you can tell why that's not his style of beauty, because he comes from a planet where like what's attractive to his...
I love his description of his wife. It was like everyone else around who were dancing, she wouldn't move. Some would confuse her for being dead.
Yes,
the perfect woman. Like,
you can tell it's
for
like,
you, I guess. All
it's
right.
like a species thing for his species, where like he wants them big and bulky and strong.
Yeah. A big stoic woman who doesn't dance.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas, like, so, you can tell that's the exact opposite of Mantis, where she's like, little tiny thing. That's not
I feel emotions and I project emotions onto other people.
Yeah, that's not his idea of beauty.
No.
Then at the end, where it's like, you're beautiful.
On the inside. But I like the relationship. It did feel very much like... Yeah, it wasn't really sexual. It didn't feel like they were setting him up to be a couple. But it felt like he made a friend.
Like with the thing like you're hideous, it even drilled in the fact that there's no chance these two are going to be together.
Yeah.
This is just a friendly relationship between a man and a woman, which we should be able to have on film nowadays without everyone. Yeah, because it happens in real life. You can be friends with
I kind of liked Peter and Gamora's kind of like, if I were like, well, he's like, well, I don't know, should we bag? And she's like, no.
Yeah,
like,
she's...
Come on, she's bang a little. And then by the end, she's just kind of like, look, we're really good friends, okay? And he's like, yeah, we are. And I like that. I like that it wasn't this.
Then at the end, she kind of raises his hopes a little, and she's like, it's just that little unspoken thing, and he's like, "Oh,
I'm real glad they didn't end on like a kiss because that would have been some bullshit.
Yeah,
but like,
didn't
I
need
like
it.
that they ended with like a hey,
Yeah, it just gave that hint.
we've
that
been through some shit together. Okay?
Yeah, because in movies like this, they can have that thing of like they just fall in love for no reason.
Yeah,
But I think between them, I think it's obvious at some point they're going to properly get together.
maybe.
But
Yeah,
they're doing it in the right way. They're building the relationship the way a real human relationship would be built. So I like that they're actually building.
Like they
a
need to
relationship.
establish and have themselves figure out like, oh shit, I care about this person. So like at this point, they're just at the point where they're both admitting, hey, I do care about you like a lot, and this team is important to me. But they're not quite at the ready where like, or like she's not quite at that stage. She's like, put your weird devil sorcery inside me.
Put your weird. Is that
What
what,
was
is
that
that what your
thing- it's
girlfriend
like-
says to you before you get in bed? Put your weird devil sorcery.
No, what was that thing? It's like pelvic sorcery. That was in the first film. That's what she was calling. Like, I will not be in like bewitched by your pelvic sorcery.
I don't remember that.
When he shows her music for the first time, she's like, the melody is pleasant. Ah! He's like, yeah. He tries to put the moves on her, and she's like, no.
Yeah.
You stay away from me.
You know what else I loved? Rocket trying to wink. And just keeps winking in the wrong direction.
Did I do it with the wrong eye? It's like I could never tell if like he was like getting sarcasm or not, or if like sarcasm is like he's so sarcastic that he's like him saying, "Oh, I don't get sarcasm," is his form of sarcasm, or it's just
Yeah, I feel like to him, sarcasm is something that's like, it's so intense that it's obvious. So like, what's that thing that Peter said that was sarcastic, but he didn't get it was sarcastic? Oh, can't remember. I think it was during the asteroid thing. Peter said something, and it like he meant it sarcastically, but Rocket didn't take it that way. Like, it didn't sound sarcastic.
But that could just be his like even more sarcasm stacking on. I couldn't quite tell, and I kind of like that. I like that you could interpret it either way.
Yeah. I liked the kind of fight for power between Rocket and Peter, because if you really think about it, if you take those two types of personalities and put them in a group together like that, I feel like they're the two types of personalities that would definitely clash.
And they do have like very similar skill sets.
Yeah, they have similar skill sets, and I feel like they're both kind of like natural leaders. Because before the Guardians of the Galaxy, it was Rocket and Groot.
Yeah,
and Rocket was pretty much
Rocket
the
had
leader.
to operate as the brains of the operation, yeah.
Yeah.
And now
And
he's having to come under someone else. He's being like, I'm
Yeah.
kind of in charge of the shit. I don't know.
Yeah, and I feel like it's very much, them fighting for power. And I feel like more towards the end, they learn that we don't have to fight for power. We're a group. There doesn't have to be a leader. But,
Like, we're all in on this.
yeah, exactly. We're all equal. There doesn't need to be one person.
I mean, Groot's not in charge.
Yeah,
And Drax
Groot's not-
isn't in charge. But you, me, and Gamora, we're kind of in charge.
I feel like it's Rocket and Peter having a dick measuring contest for who's in charge, but Gamora's just sitting there like, okay, I'll let you two fight while I actually run this shit, like the woman would.
It's like,
You-
all right,
you two keep measuring your dicks. I'm gonna run shit, okay?
pretty much. All right, that's that. What else do we want to say?
I don't know. I think we've touched on all the main parts of this movie.
Yeah.
But I'm sure, like, I feel like whenever we do a review, like an hour later, one of us will message the other saying, shit, we forgot to talk about blank.
Oh, almost always.
Almost always.
Music, good. Good.
Yeah,
This one,
just as good as the first.
yeah. First was a little better integrated, and I felt, but still good here, real good. I
still want to know how they find tape players everywhere in outer space.
I feel like they make him like they've scanned his, and then they thought, oh shit, this is a cool like nifty. Look at this nifty Earth junk I can make.
And at the end, when he gets a Zune,
That's the best joke of the film.
best joke of
That's
the
the best joke of the film. It's like
this is what they're all listening to
Do
music
it,
on Earth right
Earth.
now.
Zune. It's just
I'm
such like a weird tech thing that like a lot of people. It's one of those in between technologies, like
no one remembers.
like HD DVD or like what was that other thing? It was like those VHS, like a Betamax. It's one of those
Betamax.
weird in between technologies before we didn't realize like what was the big thing gonna be. That like
Where
you
everyone's
could
just
skip
trying.
over it and not know about it, but for those who do, it's like that weird pointed
Yeah, I know
technology
what the Zune
history.
was.
Yeah.
I remember. I think you remember my friend Angus. I remember when iPods were, just before iPods in high school. He brought in was it a Zune or was it I feel like there was a Zune and a something else that was like an iPod first. I think it something. So my mind's saying River. I don't know why my mind's saying River.
That's probably a hop. There was a bunch of like different MP3 player type things at that
it
time.
was like a
yeah.
Zune type thing, and it looked like an iPod, but it wasn't. He brought it into school one day. And we're like, "What the fuck have you got?" It was the same time as the first generation of iPods, just before they really exploded. So we're like, "Oh no, iPods are shit. iPods aren't gonna explode. This is what it's gonna be, guys." And I still have that memory in my head. So we'd hardly see each other anymore. But when I do, I'm like, "Hey, remember that time?"
You thought that iPods wouldn't be shit. You idiot.
Yeah. So what I really want to see is when they eventually meet the Avengers and Tony Stark has his weird hologram phone and just Peter to be like, "What?
How many songs does it hold? All of them.
What?" They're like, "Oh
What do you
yeah,
mean, all
there's
of
this
them?"
thing called the internet." Which surely he'd know what the internet is.
I feel like he has like similar technologies, but like he was so impressed by like it can hold like 300 songs. 300 songs! Jesus. And I kind of like that idea that like maybe like in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 we'll be getting a bunch of like early 2000, mid 2000s,
Yeah, because it
90s
feels like
songs.
it's been skipping a generation because it was like 70s and 80s, and it feels like the Zune is definitely going to be like 90s, don't you think?
I feel like the Zune is going to be filled with like 90s, early 2000s kind of songs.
Yeah.
Which it might not be. It might just be filled with like, oh, we looked up kind of songs you liked on Earth, and I don't know, where did they even get a Zune? Where did they get that?
I don't know where they got a Zune.
I did
well,
like the
it is-
explanation. Just hitting on something is just random thought coming to my mind because of going back to Earth. That like the reason Peter hasn't been back to Earth to like check it out is because like that's when my mother died. Like I don't want to fucking go there.
Yeah.
I'm
so it's like
skipping.
it
Oh,
kind of
like,
confirms that he has the ability to go there, but he chooses not to. Which is I like that. And it's like because it's surely all this alien life knows about Earth because it's not just sitting there unknown. It's like, well, the Kree definitely know about Earth because it connects to the Inhumans. The Kree, when they were fighting the Skrull, they went and created the Inhumans.
I feel like a select few are very aware of it, and there's a lot of people with eyes on it, and like, what are they going to do next? Because they're...
I feel like maybe there's some sort of law that's like until this planet is mature enough to join.
Discovers this kind of... That's like a Star Trek law, I think, as well.
Yeah, I feel like it's a general thing to say why we're not part of the giant big
Prime
cosmos.
Directive. I think that's what the Prime Directive is all about.
My mind keeps saying Federation because I think like all these planets working together like a big world really different countries. So I feel like maybe the law is we can't intervene with this planet until they're technologically and intellectually advanced enough to join our federation on their own. So until then, we're going to step back and not do anything.
True.
But they haven't said that. That's just my thing about why it's happening.
Your interpretation of it. All right. Well, I feel like we've hit everything there.
Hit everything right in the head. Want to do a quick recommendations before we wrap?
All right, quick recommendations. I don't know. I haven't really been watching anything new per se. New episode of Arrow came back. I thought it was. It's interesting. Like I'm interested in this.
I haven't caught up. The last one I've watched is where he said, "Spoilers. I don't want to be Arrow anymore. I'm done."
Oh yeah.
So don't spoil me.
It's good. Like I think the momentum has been lost a little bit just for me because I wasn't watching it like week to week. That's the problem with like these big gaps is I'll lose that momentum in mind of like, oh, this show next week. So that's gone just a little bit. But it's still a good show. It's still been going good. There's a new Tom Gleason special on Stan. Like these one night stands. Been watching all of those. Those have all been really great. Getting to see some really good like Australian comedy. So I'm probably gonna watch that after this. Probably what I'm gonna do when I get home.
Nice. Music wise, Smith Street Band, a band from Melbourne, Australia. They've released a new album which I've been pumping quite a bit this week. It's called More Scared of You Than You Are of Me. Very wordy title, but it's a very great album. And it's, kind of punk rock, alternative rock. It kind of trims that line between punk rock and alternative rock.
Yeah, and it's a little bit kind of like that folk singer-songwriter bit. Yeah.
I feel like the Melbourne scene does that a lot. Just kind of trims that line between alternative rock and
Paul
punk rock.
Kelly with an edge.
Yeah.
That's what I describe.
You're not the first person I've heard say that about Smith Street Band. It literally used to be called Will Wagner and the Smith Street Band.
I was I remember liking their Facebook page back in the day when it was called Will Wagner.
Oh
and the
yeah,
Smith
I
Strip
remember
Band, yeah.
back then. But I feel like he wanted to change that because feel like he felt like a bit
He felt
too
a bit,
dicky.
yeah.
being
It
like
is
that.
a bit dicky, be like, hey, it's me and these cunts.
Yeah, but at the same time, that's how bands used to be named. So I feel like he was trying to do like an old school '60s rock thing.
Which you could see how they've got a little bit of that kind of influence in there,
Yeah, but I feel like he was like, no, let's just be the Smith Street Band.
which is good.
But no, it's a great album if you like, rock, punk,
Melbourne. If you like
Yeah.
Melbourne.
I was actually having this conversation with Aiden and Isaac earlier today that I feel like Melbourne's kind of developed its own style of like punk alternative music.
It's
like-
very distinctive.
Yeah, because Melbourne has always had such a great, vibrant music and arts scene in general, and it's just this specific singing style has just emerged through this scene that is just you can hear it and just be like they're from Melbourne.
Yeah, there's certainly like a thing about a lot of Melbourne bands where like you can tell pretty much straight away, oh, that's from Melbourne. That's a Melbourne band. Well, like
Yeah,
you don't get it a lot with like the rest of the country. Sydney,
No.
it's kind of like you can kind of tell just because, oh, is it preppy and kind of shitty? Oh, it's from Sydney. Which
Yeah.
I like a lot of bands from Sydney,
Yeah,
but there is that little bit
I
of
feel
like,
like you get a lot of the rich private school kids.
yeah, it's a lot
With
more of
parents
that.
just like, oh, you have all her money, you do what you want. Oh, I want to
Mm.
make music. Can I make music with all your money? Go make music with all my money, honey.
Yeah, it's a lot of that from Sydney. And then Queensland is who knows,
Yeah. God, do I listen to any bands from Queensland? I don't
Are
even
Dune
know.
Rats from Queensland? I feel like one of them is from, it's either DZ Death Rows or Dune Rats is from Brisbane.
I don't know.
One of them is from Brisbane, I know that.
Well,
You get some weird sleeper hits from Brisbane.
yeah.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a few, and then like coastal New South Wales, you get a lot of that kind of either like very light and fluffy kind of music, or you get a lot of like metalcore kind of like.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you get like what's
Back in the
fucking the other street name? Not North.
Parkway Drive.
Parkway Drive. Yeah. What's the other Australian band? It's a street name.
Yeah, they're from Byron Bay. And
North
you can very
Lane, Parkway Drive,
can
the
very
Smith
much-
Street. They're all just fucking
You
street
can very
names.
much tell the Parkway Drive are like, they're from like a sunny beach area, like 'cause they're from Byron Bay.
By looking at them, I'm not so sure by their music. The music is very kind of like cold environment. brr.
I don't know. I guess.
There's that sense of metal music. I feel like it does sound like someone who's super talented at music, and it's really cold outside, so they just sit inside, God, like dun, 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 dun.
When it's really
Wait,
like,
will it stop fucking snowing?
when we're like, we live in Australia. It's one of the best, sunniest, most beautiful countries in the world.
I don't know why I'm not at the beach. Dun, 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 dun. Usher at the beach. Dun, dun. Let's film this music video at the beach. Dun, 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 dun,
We
dun,
could
dun,
literally
dun,
live
dun,
on the
dun,
beach and sip margaritas all day.
dun, 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 dun.
Pretty much.
Australian music. Somehow.
Yeah. But yeah, pretty much I've been, to get back on track, I've been listening to that album a lot, and other than that, I caught up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and let me say, hearing Phil Coulson go on the news and say alternative facts is everything I didn't know that I needed in my life.
It's just.
I loved it. I loved it so much. It was
I'm
like
kind of-
2 a.m. and I had to message you being like, have you seen it?
I'm getting kind of sick of Trump jokes a little bit, just because like
That one was well done, though.
that one was all right, but everyone is doing them, and he's bad for comedy. I feel like because he's distracted everybody. Because we can't just complain about little things. Everyone is got like, all right, guys, I have to talk a little bit about Trump, and
And
everyone's
then
just
the
like,
crowd goes wild.
mm.
Shit, it's gonna hit that.
If there's also this weariness to them. Like they're like, yeah, he still exists. Fuck.
Yeah. I remember that the college humor thing, which is the oh no, why is that trending? And then I did an episode where it was just all Trump. And at the end he just goes, we'll see you in 4 years when we can finally start having some fucking fun again.
Yeah.
Which is just, it just
Maybe
rains.
8.
Yeah, it just rains so true.
If he gets through this term, I'll be so surprised. If he gets another term, well, I just don't know America, I guess.
Yeah, well, maybe Bernie Sanders will run.
He'll be dead by that point. We'll all be
Really?
dead.
He'll be dead in like 3 years now.
We'll all be dead. He's going to strike North Korea. They're going to start a war. We're all going to die. Anyway, nothing matters. That's the PCMR podcast.
Oh, let's do the plugs. You made me sad.
If you want to find us on Facebook, we're on facebook.com/PCMR podcast. We're on Twitter @PCMR podcast. We have our own personal Twitter accounts. I'm Aiden's @AidensVlog, AIDANSVLOG.
Say your lines right, Aiden. Jeez.
Yeah, cheers, right? Yeah.
I'm @MeMan125, spelled how it sounds. I nearly said the name wrong. I almost forgot the 125.
We have an email account, PCMRpodcast@gmail.com. We have a website, PCMRpodcast.net. We're on YouTube. We're on iTunes. You can find all our shit there. That's everything. I mean, the Instagram account, I haven't posted there in a while.
Yeah. Feel like for the last month you've been saying, I'm going to get back into it, but not getting back into it.
I don't know. I'm just
You're
busy.
so lazy.
I am
You're
lazy.
so lazy.
I'm lazy at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm in a lazy vibe. I've got other things
You're
going
a lazy
on.
little boy.
Yeah.
It sounded weird saying it like that.
I have a show in Canberra on the 18th of May.
Oh, that's a thing that's happening.
Yeah, I'm not sure of the venue yet. I'll get more details next episode,
Is
hopefully,
that
or
the
episode
Wagga
later.
versus Canberra thing?
No,
or
that's
something?
June 15th. I think is the date for that.
And is that in Canberra or in Wagga?
That's in Wagga. That's for the Wagga Comedy Festival.
Oh yeah, and you performing in that?
Yeah, and the comedy versus comedy, Wagga versus Canberra. Not sure if I'm meant to announce that, but no one listens to this. Who cares?
I saw it on Facebook as public, so
I was like, my name was there, or
it said Aiden Munga is attending comedy versus comedy.
I was just me saying I'm attending it. It wasn't saying I'm in it. So
Who's gonna listen to this, Aiden?
that's
Go
true.
around
No one's
telling
listening to it.
people.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. I know, but yeah, I'll be in that. I host a Thursday night trivia at Beer Deluxe. If you're in Wagga and you want to come along to that,
Money.
yeah, honestly, if I get someone there saying they're here because I heard this on the podcast, I won't believe you. I literally won't believe you.
But he will buy you a beer.
I won't even do that.
Oh, come on, give him some incentive to harass you at work.
Exactly that. You get to harass me in
You
person.
get a stern pat on the back.
A stern pat on the back with a stern face and a firm hand. All right, that's it. Nothing matters. Bye.